ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So from few verses, Lord Kapila is explaining about the activities of a person who is in Krishna consciousness, as opposed to a pious person who is acting as per the directions given in the Vedic literature, but his final goal is sense enjoyment. Their destiny differs. Lord Kapila had explained the destiny of these fruitive workers is some higher planets. And finally, these higher planets are not permanent. They will be dissolved along with their devatas. Even the devatas who are in charge of those planets, one day even they have to die. In contrast to that, how a Krishna conscious person acts, how he performs his duties, and what is his destination is described in these few verses. Beginning with Ye swadharman na duhyanti, where Prabhupada explains those who are intelligent and are of purified consciousness are completely satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Whereas the others, they are not satisfied. They have so many desires. It is said in the Vedic scriptures, Krishna bhakta nishkama ateva shanta. Why a devotee is completely satisfied? Because he has no more material desires. When we have material desire, there cannot be peace. We will always be hankering. Our mind will always be disturbed. When our material desires become zero, anya abhilashita shunyam, especially the abhilasha of jnana and karma, jnana karmadi anavritam, then one can become completely satisfied. So, Lord Kapila explained those who are intelligent and who are of purified consciousness, they are completely satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Freed from the modes of material nature, they do not act for sense gratification. Now the question is, do they stop acting? Lord Kapila is saying no. They don't stop acting. But the object for whom they are acting, that is changed. The person who is a fruitive worker, he acts for his sense gratification. Whereas a person who is Krishna conscious, he does not act for sense gratification. He acts for satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, even if it means that I do not satisfy my senses, even at the expense of not satisfying our own demands, our own likings. When one acts only to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one can become completely peaceful, because they do not act for sense gratification. Rather, since they are situated in their own occupational duties, they act as one is expected to act. They act as they are expected to act, just like hand. What is hand expected to act like? Is hand expected to enjoy rasgulla by pressing it and thinking, now I will enjoy the rasgulla? No. That will not satisfy the hand. The hand has to take up the rasgulla and give it to the body, to the mouth. That is how the hand is expected to act, isn't it? When the hand does not act as it is expected, it is called diseased. It is in a diseased condition. Similarly, all the living entities are actually part of the Supreme Lord. They are expected to act for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Hand automatically supposed to act for the body. Similarly, being the part of the Lord, every living entity is supposed to act. That will give complete satisfaction. I was just reading teachings of Lord Rishabhadev. There, Lord Rishabhadev is explaining. He says, these qualified Brahmanas, who are my great devotees, they are so exalted that they know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is complete in all Aishwarya. They are very much aware that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is full of all opulences. He is called Ananta. He has unlimited powers, unlimited opulence. These qualified Brahmanas, the great devotees, they are aware of this. They are also aware that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the one who awards Swarga Apavarga. He is the one who awards heavenly planets. He is the one who awards liberation from this material world. But still, see their exaltedness. They do not aspire anything from me. They are akinchana. They do not claim anything to be theirs. And they are always engaged in my loving devotional service. And that is why they are very dear to me. You see. So this is a position of a devotee of the Lord. He does not act for sense gratification. He knows the Supreme Lord can give me anything. He is the proprietor of this material world, of the spiritual world, of all opulences. Everything belongs to Him. But devotee does not aspire. But the Supreme Lord, He is very kind to His devotees. He is very kind to His devotees. Whatever a devotee requires, the Lord provides. Who knows that shloka in Bhagavad Gita? Where the Lord provides what a devotee lacks. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana mam pariupasate yoga kshemam vyahami aham. Krishna says, to them I carry whatever they lack and I preserve whatever they have. The Lord personally provides whatever a devotee requires. So devotee does not ask. So this is the position of the pure devotees of the Lord. They are not inactive. They act as per their swadharma, but for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Then in the next, we find Lord Kapila explaining, by executing one's occupational duties, acting with detachment, without sense of proprietorship or false ego, one is posted in one's constitutional position by dint of complete purification of consciousness. So what happens? By executing swadharma, how? With detachment, without sense of proprietorship or ahankara, one becomes situated in his own constitutional position. And by thus executing so-called material duties, he can easily enter into the kingdom of God. Even by performing his material duty, Arjuna performed his Kshatriya duty on the order of the Supreme Lord to satisfy the Supreme Lord, and he became a great devotee of the Lord. So this is the position of devotees. They also act like karmi, but their consciousness is different. They don't act for their own satisfaction. They are not desiring any result of their activities, whatever they do. They are only desiring the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. And by thus acting like this, everything on behalf of the Supreme Lord, everything for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, finally they will enter into the kingdom of God. And this is actually what we are doing. Otherwise, why are we called, they're called as devotees. You're all going out asking people for a donation. There are so many other people also asking for donation. Some charitable organizations are also there. They're also going. You're collecting money. There are so many other organizations collecting money. The salesmen are there. So many houses they will be knocking. Isn't it? But they are aspiring for material benefits. He wants promotion. He wants money. If the company stops giving him money tomorrow, will he go and knock the door? He will not sell. He may be a big marketing man. He may be achieving his goals, but all for sense enjoyment. Devotees are also going door to door, asking people, give some donation for the temple, give some donation for Janmashtami, isn't it? So externally it may look like the same, but there is a lot of difference. The difference is devotees are acting for satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That money is not for our satisfaction. When people give money, their hard-earned money, they are giving the result in the service of the Lord. Their money will become purified, their occupation will become purified. That person will get spiritual benefit. So that is the difference. We are getting benefited and we are benefiting other people also. Isn't it? So, Externally, these activities may look like the activities of a karmi, but there is a difference. The consciousness with which we are acting is different. And that is what decides what will be the result of our activities. So, here in this verse today, it is described which path a devotee takes to enter into the kingdom of God. Because after death, the soul takes various paths, and depending upon which path one takes, the soul will enter that kind of body. It's very simple. What it is said here is Surya Dwarena. So, we also know there is Tamo Dwarena. Earlier we have studied, Lord Kapila has described. Path of darkness. When one takes the path of darkness, when the soul takes the path of darkness, then it is very easy to understand the soul is going to hellish life, which is dark, filled with ignorance. And if the soul takes the path of illumination, Surya Dwarena, we can understand that actually it will go to a place which is fully illuminated. Nayad bhasyate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha. There it does not require, it is self-illuminated. The abode of the Lord does not require the illumination of this material world. It is completely illuminated. There is no darkness in the spiritual world. You see. So, if one takes the illuminated path, the soul will go back to Godhead. We find this in Bhagavad Gita in the 8th chapter. Krishna explains this, how the soul takes different paths. So you can see this. This is in the, starting from 24th shloka in Bhagavad Gita. Agnir Jyotir Ahaha Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Priyayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Janaha. Brahma Vida means one who knows the absolute. That means the devotees of the Lord. Or even the Jnanis. They have come to the point of Brahman. Brahma Vido Janaha. Gachanti Brahma. Where they will go? They will go to Brahman. When will they go to Brahman? If they depart from this material world at these auspicious times, when Agni, Jyoti, Ahaha, daytime, Shuklaha, when the full moon, and Shanmasa Uttarayanam, in the month of the 6 months of Uttarayana. So if a person is fortunate enough, either by chance or by some yogic arrangement, the yogis, they can leave this material world. It is called Ichha Mrityu, as per their desire. Just like we find even Bhishma had Ichha Mrityu. Whenever he wanted, he could leave at some opportune moment from this material world. So, either by chance or by their yogic mystic power, they arrange to leave this material body at an auspicious time, then they will enter into Gacchanti Brahma. They will enter into Brahma Jyoti. So what is the timings mentioned here? You can see here. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of fiery god, Agni. So, if he is under the influence of the presiding deity of Agni, Agni Dev, then and in the light, that is Jyoti, at an auspicious moment of the day, Ahaha, Shukla, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or Shanmasa Uttarayanam, or during the 6th month when the sun travels in the north. So that time, if somebody leaves, if one is fortunate, then he can go up to Brahma Jyoti. Next, Krishna says, Dhumos ratris tatha Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramamsam Jyotir Yogi Prapya Nivartate. But if the mystic yogi passes from this world when it is dhumra, smoke, night, ratri, fortnight of the waxing moon, or the 6th month, so that means it is completely dark, fortnight of the waxing moon, waning moon, or the 6th month when the sun passes to the south, Dakshinayana, reaches the moon planet but again comes back. Because he is a mystic yogi, but if he passes at this time, he may reach up to the moon planet, but then he has to come back to this material world. Next, Krishna says, according to the Vedic opinion, there are 2 ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. When one passes in darkness, he returns. See? Then Krishna explains something very important, that a devotee has nothing to do with these 2 paths. He does not have to try, oh, let me pass in Uttarayana, let me pass when there is daylight, let me pass when there is Purnima. Devotee does not require any of these things. Before only in this chapter, Lord Krishna has explained Sada Tad Bhava Bhavita. Krishna has already explained. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Smarana Yudhyacha. Therefore, Arjuna, always think of me and perform your duties. Because Krishna had explained, whatever thoughts you are having at the point of death, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram. Correct? Krishna had already explained. And he has explained, so a devotee of the Lord, when he is accustomed to think of the Lord, so he has no problem. Even if one passes in Dakshinayana, one passes in Uttarayana, if one is remembering the Supreme Lord, it does not matter. He will pass through illuminated path only. Because the Supreme Light is there, the Supreme Lord is there. There is no difference between thinking of the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord being personally present. So, when devotee passes from this world, there is no doubt he will go back to Godhead. So, in the next shloka, Krishna says this, that a devotee, he knows these 2 paths, but he is not bewildered by this. Although the devotee know these 2 paths, Arjuna, they are never bewildered. They be always fixed in devotion. So you just remain fixed in devotion. Next, Krishna says, person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Veda, performing sacrifice, undergoing austerity, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activity. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So devotee will attain whatever is one may attain by mystic yoga, one may attain by jnana, all those things he will attain, and more than that is he will go back to God. That's the difference. So Prabhupada, commenting on this verse in Bhagavad Gita, that how if one passes through Uttarayana or during daytime, very nicely Prabhupada explains how a devotee can remember Krishna in all circumstances. And then he does not require by chance, or he does not require by some mystic yoga arrangement to leave the world at some moment, auspicious moment. So Prabhupada says, but one person who is bhakti yogi, who is always in Krishna consciousness, for him there is no question of chance. It is sure. It is sure. Even if he dies at the time of southern or northern, he has nothing to concern about that chance. So whether the sun is in north or the sun is in south, devotee has no concern. He has nothing to concern about that chance, because we have already discussed, at the time of death, if you can think of Krishna, at once you are transferred to Krishna Loka, Krishna platform. Therefore Krishna advises, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavo Arjuna. You always remain in Krishna consciousness, always remain in Krishna consciousness. And that is not very difficult. So now Prabhupada is telling how it is not difficult. In Kali Yuga, how to remember Krishna always. It's very important. If you practice this Krishna consciousness, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then this practice will help you to remain, because this Krishna and Krishna in his spiritual kingdom is no different, absolute. This sound vibration, Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, the same. The same sound vibration you can have Krishna associated with you. So just by chanting, actually we are associating with the Supreme Lord. One must have this conviction that when I am chanting, the Supreme Lord is present. Then Prabhupada is giving very nice example. Just like we are associating, we are sitting together. Similarly, while I mean to say you are walking on the street, if you are chanting Hare Krishna, that means Krishna is going with you. When you are walking and you are chanting, Krishna is also walking with you. Prabhupada is saying. And then Prabhupada is giving the example. Just like you have seen, while walking on the street, you see on the horizon, moon is going with you, sun is going with you. I remember very long time, 50 years before, when I was householder, my second son, he was about 4-year-old. He was walking with me on the street and he was asking me, Father, why moon is going with us? Isn't it? Sometimes you'll find children, they ask this question to parents. When we are walking, this moon is also walking with us, it is also coming with us. Yes, as you find moon is going with you, similarly by chanting, if moon has got such power, it is material thing, it can go with you. Don't you think Supreme Lord, who is all powerful, he cannot remain with you? Yes, he can. By his potency, he can remain with you, provided you are also qualified to keep his company. If you are a pure devotee and if you are always merged in the thought of Krishna, you should always remember Krishna is with you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.